So a very welcome Himanshu uh, is with us today to talk about the industry, the challenges, some of the best practices for what you need to do to apply in the industry and especially the company. So Himanshu currently works at Autodesk as and he's leading the customer success field for India region as at an enterprise level. So I'll give it to Himanshu to talk about and quickly introduce himself as well.
Hey, thanks, Apoorv. That was a pretty long and pretty nice explanation or probably introduction about me. Yes, you are absolutely correct. So it was great working with you, not directly, of course. We used to meet at events and while I was stint at Adobe, it was great knowing you. And I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Perfect, awesome. So once again, thank you for taking out time. We'll quickly jump in. Why we are doing this is because we want to help the community to find the right set of job as well as find the right level of expectation and understanding of how the industry and different company hires. Since we know Autodesk is one of the major leading industry, have the capability and is also keeps on looking to hire in India. So definitely want to learn more about how is Autodesk as a company in India. So how do you rate it, and what do you love most about the company?
I believe for me, Apoorv, it has always been very clear. Uh, Culture is one of the very important aspects that I always look forward for before joining any organization. Be it a startup, I've worked with startups as well, you would know, and I've been fortunate to get an opportunity to work with some of the best names in the world, I would say. And the only core focus always was that how's this organization, how the organization values its own people, because that's where all the confidence that you showcase while talking to the customer comes from. So when an organization has faith in you, you can show and replicate the same faith in front of your customers. That's what I feel. I may be wrong here. So for me, culture has always been one of the major aspects. Apart from culture, I'm very passionate about the products that the company builds. For example, my first organization was technically Adobe, and Adobe was a product-based company. The products were amazing. Customers used to do amazing things with those products. It used to change lives. People were earning their livelihoods. So that was another aspect. And then post Adobe, I joined organizations like RateGain, Wingify, and these were again product organizations. So RateGain at that point in time was doing amazing job in hospitality sector. We used to customize and build specific products as per the customer's requirements. The Wingify again, if you're running a test on a website, if you want to improvise your website, what you can do. So any organization, and currently Autodesk, you would know in if you think about manufacturing, if you think about designing, you think about Autodesk. So I think I've been very lucky, very fortunate in getting opportunities for working with these organizations. And the two most important aspects for me would be culture of the organization, and second one would be the product of the organization. Of course, there are a lot of other facts, but then I think that's everywhere, salary, negotiation, and all that. But then, yeah, culture and the product. These are the first two things that I look forward for, before
Right.
getting an opportunity to work there.
I think that's both are very important points to look forward, not just for your career, but for the company as well. Where do you see the company growing for the next few years till the time you are there in the company, right? But also you mentioned about you've been fortunate, but I think you have done a great hard work as well in the past that you are fortunate enough to get into this great, amazing organization. So with that, the second question that I had for you is, how should a candidate actually prepare for getting into a company like Autodesk? What all things they should prepare about?
See, I believe searching a job is also a full-time job, uh, and and I think that holds true for the entire market. Even if you're an IIT and you are you've done your MBA from one of the best schools, if again I would say if you're lucky, your first interview you land a job and that's good. But then that's not the case with majority of the folks looking out for jobs out there. So yeah, looking for a job is also a full-time job, and how to do this full-time job is nothing different than working in any organization. There are tools at your disposal. For example, Naukri, LinkedIn. LinkedIn is an amazing, it's a powerful tool. It lets you, be in front of your hiring manager if you use it properly, and you got your first opportunity to showcase your impression there. Uh, so yeah, if I were to give you specific answers that how to prepare for a certain organization, not just Autodesk, your organization, Google, for example, Adobe, Microsoft, uh, my understanding is that first of all, be very clear, be very thorough that where you want to go. That there are a couple of more important things which my mentors told me. For example, you or we as an individual, we are an average of 5 people whom we spend our maximum time with. So when you're looking forward for a role like this, I personally would ensure that I surround myself with people who are like-minded, people who help me learn more, people who help me grow more. In today's time, in COVID, of course, you're not going to get those 5 people because you're all logged inside our houses. So those 5 people actually get converted into apps. So in the digital world, the 5 apps on which you are spending your major time with. For example, LinkedIn, Pinterest, it could be any other organization, an Audible, uh, or anything like that. So these 5 apps would decide technically who you are becoming as an individual. Now, let's not include, a simple example. You spend more time on LinkedIn, you get to know more people in your networking profession. You spend more time on Naukri, you get to know, okay, which jobs are coming, which jobs are not coming. Similarly, there are 3, 4 more exercises. On a lighter note, if you spend more time on Instagram or probably a Tinder or a different sort of website or app, uh, of course you learn from there. That's my data. Second point, which I believe is extremely important, was which was taught to me, your network is your net worth. So these days, if you have highest of the skills, but if you're not able to be with the right people at the right time, I think those skills are useless. And I would again, say that I've been fortunate that I got the right opportunities at the right time because of the people I worked with in past. For example, there were 2 opportunities in my career which I got only because I knew people from my previous organization or from my customer network. And so yeah, I think I've just answered. Your network is your net worth.
Yeah,
You're an average of 5 people whom you spend your maximum time with. I would also want to add, it's not just the organizations. I think it's us as well at times. We got to understand that if we got the right match, if we got the right capability, the organization out there is looking forward to hire someone, right? And I've seen many a times, in my inbox, in your inbox, my friends, who are active on LinkedIn, you would get text messages like, "Sir, I'm very passionate about this job. Please do something. Please tell me how to go about it." And there is very little that you can do. You cannot respond to a lot of texts, and because of this, many a times you come across as a rude person, which technically is not the case. So I try. I have drafted messages, which I could send in these situations, and I could tell them that this is what the situation is. You could probably follow these pointers, and you got to understand that while being in front of the interview or the hiring manager, you got to showcase that how we are going to add value in that team. So think about it as humans, right? Uh,
right.
if you're buying a product, if you're buying a motorcycle for yourself or that fancy car for yourself, you would be seeing that how is this car going to make me happy? How is this motorcycle or a particular video game or a TV is going to make me happy as an individual? So I think while searching for jobs, we need to understand that how am I as an individual or a professional going to add value to this organization? How am I going to bring a smile on my manager's face? And we got to showcase that in front of them without being scared. I think confidence is a very important part there. So begging for jobs, technically, which I should not use the word begging, maybe some
Right.
other word to justify it, but asking for jobs and showing desperation, uh, I believe many a times doesn't help.
Correct. No, I think a third point is great value, and we'll add it as a pro tip for everybody to follow. With that, I think I know that you are very passionate about bikes and cars as well, but we'll not digress there. That question that I have for you is around the customer success, for which you're currently the role that you're playing in Autodesk. So, what are the couple of best practices that you have for somebody looking to apply for a similar role, basically?
Careers in the field of customer success. You call it customer success managers. You call it consulting is also, I believe, pretty much similar. If it's quota carrying or not quota carrying is a different part, of course. But customer success managers, account executives, strategic account managers, territory account managers, customer success specialists. I believe as per organization, uh, the key base is similar, but then somewhere because of the organization's culture, their specific values, their business methodologies, different names are being used. uh, and I believe in consulting too, because technically what you're doing in customer success, you do the same with consulting, with one major goal, that is to make sure the customers are satisfied, the
Right.
customers the customers stay happy. The thing which I was talking about, how do you make that person smile, or how do you make them happy? I think it's the same thing with customers, and just being human. This is something which has really worked in my career. Whenever I've spoken to any customer, I've honestly not spoken because he's my customer. I I genuinely had a word with excuse me. I've genuinely had a word with them as if I'm concerned, as if I'm talking to a human being. I'm not talking to a colleague, a client, a customer. And when he explains or when he brings up an issue, my genuine uh, you know feeling behind that, or the objective behind that entire
Right.
conversation, is to make sure that this goes away. And for that, I would do everything. For that, I would talk to the engineering guys. For that, I would talk to the customer support guys. I would make sure that I trouble my boss a lot, my colleagues a lot.
I think anybody would be able to gauge and prepare for their interviews. Like you said, it's not the one day preparation. It is the across the career and education that all that you've done. Bring that to the interview and be as natural as possible, right? So these were, I think, the great insights that you have given us.
I would also want to add, because the idea, the objective here behind this entire conversation is to help people who are looking out for jobs, probably in
Correct.
class A organizations. And I think talking about this, giving ideas, and letting people know that, hey, look, it's pretty simple. You know what? Just go there, be confident. I feel that that's a little unfair too, because the person who's looking out for a job, the financial crisis, the pressure on the head of getting the job, the gap, all these things are really problematic. There is a lot of pressure while doing this job search. Having self confidence and having a faith in yourself that, look, eventually this shall pass too. Like we say during the pandemic times, that this shall pass too. We've seen, I think, in the history of human race, a year like 2020, no one would have ever seen. And the pandemic has also helped humans evolve and be more human. And whosoever is giving an interview and whosoever is taking an interview, both of them understand that too. Uh, so yeah, it's not going to be easy. The way we made it look over this conversation, of course, it's not that easy. Uh, but then I think if you're passionate, eventually it will come. You got to understand that life is not perfect. You cannot make perfect decisions always, no matter whosoever you are. You talk about stock markets, you talk about racing a bike, you talk about customer success, finding a job, life. Every decision cannot be perfect, and mistakes happen. Realizing and understanding that those mistakes are happening and you made a mistake is okay. I think we just got to breathe, sit, think that, okay, I've taken a step now. How is it going to affect? How is it going to result after the next 2 or 3 years? Because eventually we all want growth. We all want happiness, no matter how much money you earn, no matter how fancy your job looks like. But then if you're always in stress, if you're always worked up, how would you use that money if you don't really have
Correct.
time? So I think mental health is also extremely important. And whosoever is looking out for a job out, I would request everyone to keep mental health in one of the top priorities. An organization which focuses on your mental health, I believe, would be the best organization to work with. So that's
Awesome,
one.
awesome.
And situations, when you don't really have a job, when you're looking out for a job, stressful situations, I think it happens with a lot of people out there. This is just one phase. It shall do pass on. And don't stop to build your network. Don't stop asking for help. And I believe we should be good at asking for help as well. Many times we are hesitant that, okay, if I ask this guy and if he says no, it would look bad. And I would, we have this feeling of being feeling bad or being shamed or being looked down upon. You could call it either ways you like. And we do not ask for help. And I think until you ask for it, the answer is always no.
Definitely, I think that is also one of the great learning that you have. If you are up for it, if you think that you should be there, then you should take the first step. The interviewer is saying, right? But at most, you can actually say no to a lot of things as well. By saying that they want you, you can't just say that I was always successful. You have to say that, yeah, I failed once, but then I came back and learned that what not to do in the future, right? So that is something you know now. So these kind of conversations should happen in the interviews, and the best part
Yes,
is to tackle with the confidence.
and just to add on, I feel how you're showcasing your failure as a success. Okay, you failed at a certain task, but then all in all these books and courses we read that you don't fail, you only get to learn. How you learned out of that particular situation? Was it a project? Was it a customer story? Was it a sales deal? Was it a renewal? And if you failed doing that, why did you fail? Did you try everything that was supposed to do? That did you try everything that could have probably turned things around? And if it did not, why it did not? Many a times you just go to accept. Okay, uh, I feel at times we got to be easy on ourselves. If after trying everything it didn't work out, it didn't work out. That's fine, and we got to accept that, because every time we run behind success, every time we look forward to do something perfectly, it's good. It's a nice thing. Uh, but then we also got to understand that's not going to happen always.
Correct. I think, yeah, that's why we are doing this to, since from what we have been through from past 10 years with our experience, the newcomer should learn. They should apply this in their own lives. And I think doing this, you can say that, saying is very easy, but applying and doing it is very difficult. And somebody who is actually looking forward for a job is struggling. But I think these conversations actually help them to boost their confidence, to understand what to do and what not to do. But yeah, so I think great conversation we had today. We'll be doing a closure. So again, once again, thank you so much for taking out time from busy schedule.
Hey, my pleasure, Apoorv. If I got little ahead with the emotional flow while talking, please cut that part. And
Yeah,
yeah, it was great talking to you. I think it was a great experience, and I hope this really helps someone who is looking out for a job out there. And apart from this, also feel free to mention my LinkedIn, and I would be happy to help people individually as well, whenever I can. I don't promise I'll respond to all the texts, but I try to at least. So yeah,
yeah,
so that's
yeah.
there, and wishing you all the very best to do these kind of success stories. I think you're doing a great job for the community. Stay safe, and whosoever is watching this particular video, stay safe, take care of yourself. This is just a phase. This too shall pass.